What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about just a few of the upgrades that I have made to this tank in the last month and why I made them and what I used to have on there and why I didn't really like that as much as I like what I have now. Alright guys, so the first upgrade I made to this tank was adding this piece of spiderwood in there. Now there are plenty of benefits for having spiderwood and other sorts of driftwood in betta fish tanks, as it adds tannins in the water, which makes it a little bit more like their natural habitat, and that's really what kind of going for when you have a betta fish. But the thing I used to have in there was this $16 PetSmart rock, and I mean, it doesn't look super bad. It's not like corny looking as much as some things, but that was just what I had before I found what I really wanted in there, because it took me a little bit to find a piece of spiderwood that was small enough to fit in a 5-gallon tank and still look not crowded. But I actually did used to have a piece of that rock in here too, but I determined that this tank was a little too small for that, and that the plants grew in plenty good enough to create plenty of like structure in that tank, because there's plenty of live plants in there for how big it is. But yeah, I definitely like the looks of this tank. It makes it look like more natural, especially with the live plants and the other piece of driftwood I have in the back. It just looks a million times better in my opinion. Then the next upgrade that I have actually recently made is this air pump. Now what I used to run was this top fin air pump, and as you can see there's no adjustability to it at all, and that was really the big reason that I went with this one here. It is a Aquaneat air pump that's adjustable. It says up to 55 gallons, but I mean, I don't think you'd really be able to put this on a 55-gallon tank. I mean, just my opinion though, but it does definitely work really well for this 5-gallon tank. The next thing I did was add this Aqueon tank heater in there. Now this also says it's good for up to a 40-gallon tank. I would not do that. It's not really big enough for that, but it definitely does the trick for the betta fish tank here. And I mean, I just like it because I can see when the heater's on and make sure it's still working. I checked it with the thermometer. It keeps it right there at 78. I mean, it keeps a really good temperature and it holds it steady. But the heater I had before it was one of these top fin. They're actually marketed as a beta heater. They're only 10 watts. They say they're good for up to 5-gallon, but I'm not real impressed with how they did at a 5-gallon tank, because I mean, the water always kind of seemed to be just a little bit colder. I mean, it wasn't like freezing. It's obviously better to have a heater in there than none, but see, like right there, it just kind of shows when it's kicking on and off and everything. But yeah, the top fin heater, they definitely work good for these smaller tanks like this one, because that's what I use in it, but I don't think they work as good when you get up into these big tanks. And then one of the most impactful upgrades here that I made to this tank recently is this Aquaneat aquarium light. I mean, it's like a 12-inch, I think is what it is, but it works really well. I mean, good plant growth. It grows algae if you leave it on too long, but but yeah, I mean, good plant growth. It's not too bright for the betta fish. You can tell the betta fish isn't like uncomfortable in there, but it's definitely a really good aquarium light. I would recommend the aquarium light. Really, I would, so far, which I haven't had all this stuff for too long, I would definitely recommend this heater here and this air pump right here, because I mean, for how much I paid for them, they're definitely doing a really good job at keeping my aquarium running smoothly. And the other air pump that I had, it just kind of had too much flow going for what it was. But yeah, I mean, really, my favorite part is probably just the spiderwood, just because I just like the looks of it. I mean, it just looks so much better being like a completely natural looking tank with like only live plants and wood, and I mean the sponge filter in the back, but I don't really mind the sponge filter. As you can see, the fish definitely enjoys all of this stuff, and it's definitely a big helper to have the live plants in there. But that's really all I have for you guys in this video. Just like to say thank you guys so much for watching this, and if you'd like to see more content or see something else done in the future with more betta fish and more betta fish tanks, and eventually normal like a community tank, I'm gonna have a 20-gallon community tank going. But just leave a like, leave a comment below, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.